talk about slot cars. So I'm assuming that we're live at this point. Welcome to Worldwide Slot Car Chat on Zoom number 162. I'm your host, Greg Gaub. Most of the gang is here with Tony and Mike and Pete and John and Dennis and Martin and Mark and Garth and Chris and other people. Let's talk slot cars. Does anybody have anything they'd like to show and or tell about? I can kind of assume that maybe one or two people has the new Chaparral. I don't know. Maybe it's still on the way. Maybe if they got their Chaparral, they'd like to show that off. Dennis put his hand up. Are you going to show us a Chappie or something else?
All of the above.
Okay.
I have a Chappie to show, yes. Hold on, let me just plug my other camera in here. However, it's a conditional Chappie. There we go. So yes, this is a slot Chaparral, right? As you can see, there's the box. However, I bought the white kit.
Yeah.
There are only, I think, 8 or at best 9 separate liveries, full size, available for reproduction as a Chaparral 2F, because it only raced in 6 or 7 races, and in one race there were 2 cars. So the one that came out now was the number 15. That is the one that was raced at Daytona, the very first one. And after that, they raced at Sebring, then they raced at Monza, then they raced at Spa and Le Mans and Nürburgring and Brands Hatch. And every time the car appeared, it was different. So there are 3 different combinations of the nose section of the car. Well, 4 or 5 actually, if you start to look at the pieces that go inside the grille. There were at least 2 different rear ends. There were 3 different versions of the wing uprights. There were 2 different versions of the wing. Okay. So I decided I'm going to buy the white kit, hoping that Maurizio had included all the parts for the white kit for all the other versions so that I could build one straight away. It turned out that he hasn't done that. The interesting thing was that part of what was provided in the parts for the white kit was this. And this is really interesting because it actually is not a Chaparral 2F part at all. It's, come on, John.
2G.
It's the 2G. It's the intake for the 2G. It's 2 pieces, wow. Right? It's 2 pieces like that, right? But it's the intake for the 2G, nice. Which means that somewhere in China, there are molds and plastic ready for a 2G, which is great news for a lot of us, I guess.
Well, anyway, now, hang on, Dennis, could that be like a mold from the 2E that Slotted did, maybe?
2E never used the scoop.
Oh, it's got the scoop. Oh, look at that. There you go. Beauty.
The 2E never used the scoop on top, right?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
And it didn't have the really long injector trumpets either.
Right. Oh, so there's hope for a 2G.
So there's hope for a 2G yet, because of course now we're getting to the point where the sides of the 2F start to look like the 2G, right?
So in other words, you're telling me I wasted more of my time. That's what you're telling me.
No, because that's done already. Anyway, so what I decided to do was to build the car that was run at Spa. And in order to build the car that was run at Spa, I had to do a number of things. The first thing was I had to add that little chin spoiler down the front there, which is a little piece of styrene that I put on the front of the car. Also on the wing, and I'm still busy with that, is this little trim tab that was right in the middle of the wing at the back. And then by then they had modified the nose clip of the car so that there was God, this thing's focused, there we go. So that there was a vent coming out of the car. Later versions had a vent down the front as well. This is the second iteration of the front end. And then, of course, the other thing that happened was that they put these scoops in the back, which were not on the Daytona or the Sebring car, I seem to remember. Maybe they were on the Sebring car already. And then the last thing was that on the Daytona car, because it had no scoops there were openings in the back of the body. Just around this top corner, excuse me, see if I can get this thing to focus. Anyway, just up in this top corner. So I had to cover those with a little bit of styrene. And that's it. So I now have, like I often like to do, a version that has not been made yet, but I'm sure it will be at some point. And that's me for show and tell for the day. The chassis looks just the same as any other Chaparral, pretty much, or the 512M. The mechanicals are all the same, and so it should run really well. We'll just have to wait and see what it does with this big wing on the back. But from what I've read online already, it runs well. So there we go.
Yeah, my original slotted Chaparral, I forget what version it is.
2E.
Presumably, the first one that they released.
Mm-hmm.
With the decorative wing on, not the race wing, which is slightly lighter, ran really great. And so there was a lot of speculation that having a small amount of weight up high improved its performance by helping it kind of dig a little bit more into the turns or something.
On what tires were you running?
At the time, probably F22s.
All right.
Not
Interesting.
stock.
I have one of each. The 2Es with the small decorative wing, and then the later one that had the little chin spoilers and the bigger wing with the end plates on it. Although I put the end plates on because they didn't come that way from the factory. But with the end plates on and the bigger wing and rubber tires, it's a handful. There's just way too much weight high up. So I had to convert that car. I run that car on silicon tires so that it doesn't have as much grip. But the smaller decorative wing works fine. But as soon as they put the extensions on them and the side plates on it, that extra weight just rolls the car over.
It's probably because we're running, at the time at least, pretty much all of our tracks except one or two was Scalextric Sport. So we were looking
I'm talking wood.
Yeah. We were looking for grip, so I guess that was helpful. Anywho, great looking car, and of course,
it's beautiful. They've done a really nice job.
Yeah,
as always.
I like the Targa Floria livery also.
Yeah, that's also nice. I considered that one, but I already have an MRRC MRRC one that I did in that livery, so I had to go look for something different.
Yeah, just the idea that they would take that car to the Targa Florio and run it. Mostly for fun.
Hap Shark said that driving that thing around was like riding a horse in a corral.
Yeah,
he said it was just so big by comparison to everything else, and the tight streets around some of the villages in the Targa Florio were a major issue for them.
Yeah. All right, good stuff. Thanks for sharing, sir. And Garth, you are next. What you got?
I got an update on the great Reinvent the Wheel project. Okay. And I did a Mike Maurer, known as Nomag Mike, on the forums. And I have designed a few Trans Am wheels for his Trans Am cars. Okay. So that's how I'm going to start it out here. Do a share real quick. Here's the first one. Can you see it okay?
Yeah.
Okay, and Mike might want to comment on this one. This is he's going to put it on some, I think, some scale electric cars, okay? The 5-spoke mag, and it all the dimensions.
The Pioneer Pioneer Mustang.
Okay, and all the dimensions were given to me by Mike, okay, and we just designed this up. That's what it looks like from the side, okay? And here's the back of the wheel. This is the interesting part of this wheel. This wheel is designed to use the Ranch Design aluminum insert, okay, but this particular one has got a carved out back so that it uses a shorter insert, and it creates a wheel that's dead flush in the back, okay, and that's what the difference is on this wheel.
Nice.
This shows this is just a wired with the wire frame on, shows you the different fillets and stuff that are on the wheel. This one is the next one and Mike, you can tell us what this one's going to go on. This is
Mini light
wheel.
Well, that's a standard mini light style that goes on the Javelins and the Challengers and Barracudas. For Trans Am.
And again,
Chaparral Camaros,
Yep.
Barracudas, Challenger.
Yeah, I don't allow Camaros on my track. So.
And this is the same exact wheels dimensions and stuff, okay, just a different style in the middle. That's what it looks like spun over. Same in the rear. It's got the flush back design. Okay, there it is with the wire frames. You see where, and we went back and forth and changed the size of the spokes a couple times and moved things around and got it to where he liked it. So this is what it is now. And they're going to obviously use the Ranch Design aluminum insert. Here's the some images of the original standard insert, okay? And this one is the barrel length is 6.2 millimeters, and the back side, this back part of it is 2.6 millimeters. All right, same thing. This one is the new shortened version of it, okay? And this one is barrel length on this one is 3.6, same exact in the back here, 2.6. Okay. And that creates a flush back, okay. And I got a few other ones that I'm working on. I'm just going to go through them real quick here. This one is a 5 mag that I'm doing for somebody. It's different than Mike's, so the mag parts of them are a little wider. And I believe this one is a 17.25 inch flat.it size. That's this one is Wayne Lander's wheel. Okay. Designed it up to his dimensions and sent the file off to the UK, and he had Kevin from Manchester print it up. And this one is an axle, just a straight axle. There's no insert to it. And Wayne's doing something with it, so maybe if he comes on, he can talk about it. This one is what I call the spider wheels. This is another slot.it size, 17.5 millimeters. Same thing, only painted. This one is the turbo wheel. This is probably my favorite one so far. This one's 17.25, and I've actually got this wheel, and I've got a 15.8 version of it also, and slot.it diameter for the insert, the Ranch Design insert. This is the last photo, and this one I just thought I'd show. This is the turbo. I call it Turbo Air. I haven't printed this thing yet, but it's got the idea is that, it's like the, it has an airspace, so someone tried doing, all these are designed around, SLS nylon PA12. And
Okay, any questions?
Oh, very nice. I was just about to ask about the air channel, and there it was. Yeah, that looked really good. Getting to the point where all you need is a couple of sets of the sleeves, and you could be changing tires easily enough. How tight is the fit between the wheel and the sleeve? Is it just a press, or do you have to glue it?
that's the beauty of the SLS nylon, is that it prints like incredible. And the ones I've got, I'll just show you a few, Dennis. This is one of the turbo wheels. I don't know if this will show up very well.
I think it would quite do. Yeah, well, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of fogging itself out here, but
yeah, take it a little further away and
yeah, I should have probably used a painted one. But anyways, it's just now Mike's wheels, what we're gonna do is, these are what's called the rough finish, okay? And it's kind of matty finished and stuff, and I just painted the ones that I'm using. But
like
the one
sandcast aluminum.
one we're doing with Mike, for Mike, we're gonna get them with a polished finish, okay? Which don't ask me how they do it. I think they just throw it in a tumbler or something. But you asked about the inserts, okay? The inserts are spec'd at 0.125 plus 2 minus nothing, okay? And the way the wheel is designed, the wheel's designed at 0.19, I'm sorry, 0.124. Okay, so it's only 1/1000 undersize, okay? And pretty much the inserts that I've got, and I've got a new batch of them right now, they all come out, right on a mean of the spec, which is 1/1000 over 1/8 of an inch, okay? And I press them in, and there is a few posts on HRW called the Great Reinvent the Wheel Project, number 1, number 2, number 3. And I think the last couple of posts I show how I do it with
Oh, okay, thanks.
press them in.
Interesting.
And they're really quite nice. Okay, and Mike is going to be the guinea pig on the West Coast for the Trans Am thing. So he's going to try to do all of his Trans Am cars in the 3D printed SLS nylon wheels. So, and interesting enough, I tell one story on the 5-spoke mag wheel. Okay, I just out of the air, I drew up a 5-spoke mag, and everybody that saw it said, I want one of those. I want one of those. And then when I did it, I went, I think people are going to probably want this. And so since that time, that was about 2 weeks ago. And now I think I've got 3 or 4 versions of a 5-spoke mag wheel. So they got, and I've done one other thing I've done is an insert for it. Okay. For an aluminum wheel, not a printed wheel, but a printed insert. Okay, that's a 5-spoker that I did for actually the guy that does ranch design, which Steve Eggleston is his name, and he does a lot of 1/43 aluminum wheels that he machines, and he wanted a mag, so we're experimenting with an insert for that. So
good. Really nice.
I'm looking for somebody to test the air wheel. So maybe it's you, Dennis. Maybe we need to design an air wheel for you. And
sure.
Yeah.
He's good.
Because you know what I'm going to do with the air wheel, right? The very first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to fill that air. I'm going to fill that with some foam before I put the tire on.
That's what I thought. And, And I'm just goofing around with stuff with my wheels, and I'm trying to get as many people involved in it. Chappie Man on the forum,
Yeah, Paul
he's
Chapman.
got his hands on some of the inserts, and he's doing some form of something with it. He's printing wheels and stuff. And he's done some wheel printing before. And there's another guy, the guy that does the what's that guy's call sign, Mike? The guy with the tire cleaner thing.
Oh, HO.
Oh,
Ed
uh,
Bianchi. Ed
Ed
Bianchi.
Bianchi.
He's got some inserts, and he's but the epiphany was SLS nylon. Once I got a few of those, it was like, oh my God.
Yeah, we tried doing PLA, and the PLA would fold over too much to make a decent mount for an air wheel. So I'm hoping the nylon works better.
Well, just the printing technology is better for that kind of a shape.
Yeah.
there's one more guy who will be wanting something, I would think, and that's Dewan, who's looking for some centerline wheels
Well, the
for his
way I'm doing,
Camaros.
I have to look at them
the way
now.
I'm doing
Yeah.
it is, anybody can have anything I got, and if all you got to do is just email me the specs that you want, and I'll do the design, send it to you. You check it out. If you don't like it, we'll change it. And then the way I do them is I buy them from Craft Cloud. Okay. And lucky for us and me and everybody else, there's a place in the United States that actually prints them for spit. And then with Craft Cloud, I can just or we call it drop ship. I paid on PayPal and drop ship it, so it's pretty cool.
What's your
It's
email address?
very cool, and I hope other people start using it because it's too cool. And just as an example, when you get a quote from Craft Cloud, okay, usually it's 6 to 12 versions of quotes that you get from all over the world, okay, and the very first one is always this one place in Idaho, and if they're $10, everybody else is $78, or
Wow.
$158. I mean, it's just. And in fact, on all the wheels that I've got, drawers full of wheels that here's just one example of some of the wheels that I'm using. And all of my cars have been converted over, a lot of them have been converted over to this type of wheel. And the Craft Cloud thing is, I keep thinking I'm stealing stuff. Okay, you know what I mean? And because their quotes are so, this one place quote, and I think what it is that the SLS, and Greg might chime in on this too. The SLS machines are so much money to own and operate that I think the people that are doing them are doing aerospace parts and medical parts and stuff. And that's the way they quote. They quote everything at, 10 times the cost of what it really is or something. In this one place, they figured out right away that, and I mean, every time I give them a design, and I think it's not going to work. I like the turbo wheel. You saw all the fins and stuff on that thing. And I thought, okay, I basically did it as a joke. Okay, thinking there's no way anybody's going to be able to print this. And I'll be damned. In 7 days, I had the damn thing in my hand. I couldn't believe it.
Can you post a link to that? Was it Craft Club or Craft Cloud?
Craft Cloud. Okay, just type Craft Cloud. And they are awesome. It's a German-based company. And they're brokering, 15 or 20 or 30 different places all around the world that, will print for you. And you just register with them, and they have an excellent website. And if you send them a good STL file, one that's done the right way, it will go right through their algorithms, and you'll have quotes from 6 or 8 or 10 places in 2 minutes, okay, or better, so it's incredible.
Okay.
Highly recommend.
3D.com, that one.
It's not a .com.
No.
There we go.
And previous,
3D.com.
yeah, previously, I did some SLS stuff for 143rd cars from Shapeways, but try getting a quote out of Shapeways. They're just, they're, off the screen with the price, okay, compared to what I'm paying for, I mean, just as a quick example, is it okay if I tell them what we paid for your wheels, Mike?
Sure.
There's two wheels, two designs, okay, of four versions, okay. I'm sorry, four versions of two designs. 20 wheels with axles, 20 with hubs, 20 with axles, 20 with hubs. A total of 80 parts shipped to Mike's, drop shipped to Mike's place in Wenatchee, Washington, $35.
Wow.
That's pretty good.
80 wheels for $35. Now you do have to either make your own insert or get inserts from Steve at Ranch Design. Those are a little more pricey. So, but
Yeah.
they're excellent quality.
And
So
that's Craft Cloud 3D is the place that you're sending the models to, and then they get quotes for that model from a variety of places that can produce it, and you just pick which quote, which company you actually want to have produce it.
Yep.
And this place in Iowa or Idaho or whatever is doing really, really great prices on.
yeah, and I in fact I'm so enamored with Craft Cloud that I don't even want to undercut them or anything. And I know who the place is. You know what I mean? And it's so nice to be able to deal with a website that you can, and they save my models, and it's just as one example, we did an order for Mike, okay, and it was easier for me to order on my account and drop shipping from Idaho to Washington than it would have been for Mike to figure all that junk out, you know what I mean? So, and right at midstream, okay, and their quote was for that order was 4 to 8 weeks, or I'm sorry, 4 to 8 days, and they're pretty right on it. Okay, I mean, I usually got them in my hand from there to Detroit in 7, 8 days, sometimes faster, depending on the mail. And we decided to change from the raw finish to the polished finish at the last minute. I just sent an email through Craft Cloud, and I got one back, and then bang, was handled. You know what I mean? So
Beautiful.
yeah.
If I had to guess on the reason for the price differential is most likely it's a smaller business and they need the business, whereas Shapeways is the de facto place that everybody goes. So they have no shortage of of prints to print for people, so they can charge more and not care, because they'll still have so much business they can charge a lot. It still keeps going.
I do have a story for you. Okay. It's the way they do their, the way when you send them a file, it's the way that they have algorithm softwares that look at your file, and they can immediately tell whether it's a good file, and you can print it. Okay. And and so one time I sent them something, okay, and I thought the price would be, I had been paying about $21 for the thing that I wanted, okay, previously, okay, and I got a quote, and it came back really fast to me at $31, and I went, oh shit, they figured out what I'm doing. I thought, okay, they figured out that I'm not paying enough money or something. But what it was the vendor, okay, in Idaho was closed, okay, and so it gave me a quote just off of their application, okay, at Craft Cloud, okay, but when the vendor is open, they see it and they applied a customer discount to it, okay. So if you keep going to them, okay, they automatically give you a smaller discount, okay. Just make sure that they're open when you send them the quote. So it was pretty interesting, because I thought for sure, because honest to God, I would have paid $31 and not been unhappy with it at all. Okay, you know, and it was all about them not, their business wasn't open and they weren't able to respond to the quoting process. Okay, so
Righty.
I did the same thing 6 hours later and bang, it was the price I thought it would be, you know.
Well, sounds like a great resource for people to look
Mhm.
into. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
All right, Mark, you've got your hand up. What would you like to share?
You too.
There we go. Just got a couple new cars. You know, I keep telling myself I'm going to swear off Group 5 cars because, you know, initially I never really liked them. I mean, it looked like somebody hauled a nice looking car into their garage and, you know, started pulling out some sheet metal and rivets and started adding all the body panels. But after a while, they've kind of grown on me. Some of them have, you know, a nice paint job. They look better than the others. So this was one. I was looking for a Lancia. There we go. It's Beta Monte Carlo, and I saw this special edition livery, which I really liked, so I picked that one up. And then a newer one was this Carrera, this BMW Turbo, that I really
Wow.
love this livery. I mean, it's really well done. This black and these. This one, though, I actually got a pretty good deal on eBay on this one because I think Great Traditions or Lakota Collectibles, I think it's the same place. This was probably a digital. I think then they pulled the chip out of it, and then they sell it as you know, an analog car for like $29. I think you get no, you know, there's obviously no chip, no box. But, you know, I don't.
They did the same thing with a bunch of stock cars.
Yeah, yeah. And I've got several things I've like that. So, I mean, I don't mind because I don't need the case and I'm analog anyway. So, but yeah, I just couldn't resist this livery. This was a really pretty one. It's really well done. So, but
Have you done any
yeah.
of the sideways cars?
I've got some Group 5s. Yeah, I did get the other Lancia, the John Player livery, and I got the M1, the Hawaiian Tropic, the blue one. They're you know, I'm imagining they're great runners. I haven't had a chance to run them yet because I'm still you know, got to work on my track, but they're beauts.
We just raced them. And they are wonderful cars. They really are. The 512 BB is a great car too. That's I think that the Porsche 935 Flakbau, the 935 K2, which has the sloping front end on it, hence the Flakbau, is one of my faster cars in that group, and the 512 BB is maybe even a touch faster. But those things are really great fun to run. They really are nice.
Yeah, I keep telling them I'm going to swear these off, but every time, you know, once in a while, I'll see another one I really like. But I like to get even numbers. You know, it's like, oh, I've got 5. I guess I need a 6th one, you know, so I could run them against each other. But maybe that's the last one. I don't know. I never speak too soon.
Yeah, those are famous.
And Mark has descended into the same justification pit that all of us are in.
Yeah. Oh, I need at least 2 for a racing pair.
Have 2. Yeah, gotta have 4.
Or 3.
I gotta have one for every member of the family, right?
Yeah, or 6, so I can digitally chip them and have a 6. Been there, done that. Yep. All right. Thanks for sharing, Mark. And do that.
Okay. As Dennis indicated, I definitely want to get with Garth and those wheels. I am desperately looking for center lines as I go through this little show and tell. You'll know exactly why. But first, I want to start off with a couple new cars that I did pick up. This one, I think everyone can kind of see.
Carrera.
No, yeah, it's the Skeletric Mustang, 007 Mustang.
Oh yeah, so it's so blown out by the light that I can barely see it.
Oh, okay, sorry. Let me, yeah. See it from that perspective.
It's
Okay, so that's
white.
the first one.
It's white,
Yeah.
yeah. So the bright light, yep.
Okay. So anyway, that's the first car. And everyone else has already talked about, but I just want to, and this is a work in progress because I had been using mine. My first two, they were one of my road runners, and they've lost their wings and in the process of being repaired. But nonetheless, I've gotten. Oh boy, maybe I should turn off my background, huh?
Yep.
But anyway, it's the four, the three slotted chaparrals.
Of more interest is that 3-lane track. What is it?
Well, I showed this before. This is the Strombecker
Oh,
3-lane.
okay.
So
All right.
it's nice to display, that's for sure. Okay, now I get to my real show and tell. And I'll probably I need to do a screen share on this one.
Okay.
And let me bring it up here. My mouse decides to just appear on me. And I was trying to get this prepped a little earlier, but I ran out of time. So the screen images come up a little small, and I have to increase them every time I want to show what I want to show. And
Yep.
okay, so anyway, this is what I started with, which was some old Revell track, not track cars that 124 scales that came in a set, and I bought a few extras. Let me see if I can get this a little. It is a little on the small side, isn't it?
Yeah. You might be able to just use. Do you have a scroll wheel on your mouse?
There you go.
Sometimes you can scroll in and out to zoom. in and out.
Ferrari.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
that's
it's
the
a
first one.
super squalor.
Yeah,
So this is the original.
nice.
See how they were a little discolored and.
Somebody had painted the two of them with brush and some enamel, maybe Humbrol or something from back in those days.
Wow.
Yeah. So those are some of the originals, and this is kind of the collection there initially. And yeah, so you kind of see what was going on. And then this was some 132s. I probably have about 25, 30 of these things floating around thereabouts. But I wanted to get a nice little cleaned up collection of these. And this was the deal breaker, not a breaker, but a deal maker. So we talked about this a few sessions where I actually had 3 sets of these Riverside tracks boxed, ready to go. And I hadn't even looked at it. Several of them I hadn't even looked inside to see how well they were conditioned and everything. And so right around the holidays, Christmas holiday times, I posted one on one of our groups to see if anybody was interested in having something like this for the holidays, and I'd sacrifice and I can't even remember half the time what I paid for half of these things, but I would, when I want something, I kind of pay what I feel it's worth. So I know that I didn't get it for too much of a bargain, but nonetheless. And it came pretty well stocked. As I opened it up, I found, it had everything in it, including the direction, the instructions, and the controllers, and the cars were in there too, but one was a little bit heat damaged, looks like. And then the track was in, I'd say probably B plus condition for the most part, and I took it, kind of polished it up and got it maybe to A minus for most pieces. But this is it. That's how it was straight out of the box. And then
Cool.
and I worked on it, and that included all the promotional materials that came inside the box, etc. And this right here is the promotional advertisement for Revell four-lane, for Revell, period. And they talk about how you have the flexibility of making a 4-lane track and everything. And I was always intrigued by this, concept and layout and everything. This is when I was literally 10 years old, thereabouts. And I just always dreamed of having this massive 4-lane Revell track. And so I decided on doing the Batman track. But since I have so much monogram track, and the monogram is an exact layout, identical format of the Revell track, I'm going to be doing this exact layout here in monogram and have that in tandem with my my Batman track. So I'll have both surfaces and things like that. Batman's going to be permanent. This one may be temporary, and I may switch this out to a digital track or something like that, but they'll be housed in the same room near each other. So that's why I'm kind of holding on to the rest of my monogram until I get this completely laid out and know what I need to have, and then after that, because after Dennis and I made our deal, I probably had about a half a dozen people just pounding my inbox, wanting a copy, wanting a set of those Riverside tracks. And I have a couple of, I have the Sebring, I have every one of the monogram tracks, at least 1 or 2 copies of the sets. So that's the end of that. And let me go to my next, after I stop this screen share and go to my next one. That was the originals. Okay. And I was attempting to put this in some type of order, but it's not going to be in any kind of order. So they're going to come up a bit in a random format. So
awesome. Awesome. That looks like it would fit on an 8x16 table and a pretty nice looking layout.
It's 7 by 13, I think, is what the that monogram layout was. I think it was no. I take it back. The Riverside is 7 by 13. I have to look at the dimensions of that one.
May I just say, as pleased as I am for you, I have enormous slot envy.
Well, I'm flattered for that comment. Thank you. Let's see. My mouse just keeps disappearing on me. I have these 2 screens and it's so dark. There we go.
I had that problem. You can take pills for it. Never mind.
Okay.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out how I was going to respond to that, John, in a friendly family format.
Is it back to screen sharing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So this right here is my official car that I had I bought when I was 20 years old, thereabouts.
So wait a minute. That was your Batmobile.
Yeah, absolutely. It was. And those are the center line wheels that I'm trying to get duplicated. But anyway, so that's let me see if I can do this a little bit better. I don't know if that doesn't show up any better anyway. Okay, well. And this is the license plate that's going to go on it. So this is a somewhat random order, so you just have to just kind of indulge with the thing. This right here is what Dennis has produced for me, which is taking one of the Scalextric Z28s that came out about a year ago and modifying it to make it match the car that I own and that I will be restoring. I'm going to restore it. I have it out here just ready to be restored to conditions. And you can see in the background, this is actually a commissioned
House.
Yeah, that I had an architect commissioned to make a rendering of the house that I had in Los Angeles, my family home in Los Angeles that I sold about a year ago. So this is actually, this is recreating me. Okay, oh boy. So and we're going to be going back and forth with different types of things because again,
Nostalgia is a strange thing.
Powerful thing.
Oh, but and it's never too late to have a happy childhood.
Yeah, really.
So this is the now version of what you saw the original versions of that Dennis has taken and has completely restored and the painting that this doesn't do any justice because it's coming in so fidgety. I can't get the clear pictures. The originals were much better, but he painted the men and the drivers, new decals, and just a really nice job. New tires on the rears, and oh, this is a little image of
That was the ethnic enhancement, right?
That's me.
It looks like he's about to fight crime.
Yeah.
I have two versions of it. The license plates are going to go on. That's why I just had the little display. The license plates are going to go on the front and back. That's where I actually have my original car. So that's what you'll see in those. Again, you'll see. Yes.
Oh, there they are.
Yep.
That plastic that Revell used particularly for the 124 scale cars is like Tupperware. And it's really, really difficult to get the paint to stick on those things.
Yeah.
Even with a fancy primer underneath, it was still not an easy job. So be careful of the blue and the yellow one, that the paint will still chip.
Okay. All right. This is yeah.
Because those bodies just clip over the chassis, and so the bodies need a little bit of flexibility.
Okay, I'm gonna be.
Oh yeah, and then of course not all of those 124 scale cars had exhaust systems remaining.
Yeah, let's get back to only one of them had the exhaust.
Only one of them had it, so I had to make some.
He made the exhaust. If you look at all four of them, they look just almost identical, as well as the windshield.
And the windshields too. There were only two windshields.
He really did a great job, and I know I have a photo that depicts all that together. Yeah, I was gonna put these in some kind of real order to kind of have them organized, so that when I go through them, that might be. Yeah, all these exhausts wanted. He mimicked and replicated the from what one image was to put in the others that was missing. So one of them had two of them I think had windshields, and he got two more windshields based off of those, and then one of them had an exhaust, and he made all of them with exhaust, and there they are, 91, 93, 95, 97.
Yeah, I just decided that was the best way to make the numbers, was just to have them like a team, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, great.
Primarily because I took the stickers off and forgot what the other numbers were.
That's all good.
I got it right on the 132nd scale cars.
Good.
Oh, where's that? Yeah.
Well, Dewan, your presentation only emphasizes your enthusiasm, really.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you, boy, I can't be more ecstatic about this.
Cool.
Look at how beautiful this is, man.
They never looked like that back in the day, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
These are just a bunch of beauties, I tell you. And we're gonna have a nice little family gathering on the 4th of July, and obviously we're gonna have a lot of little races and things along those lines. So, yeah, I think that kind of just about. Let me see if there's anything noteworthy that comes up here. I think that shows. No, it's still just all the 137.
Oh, there they are.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So I have one of the blue DB5s.
Mercedes. Yeah.
Yeah.
You need to try and find a couple of the Corvettes with the split window. They
are
out there. They're not just not that easy to find.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Watch, by next week, Dewan will have 6 of them.
He's gonna go out on a mission.
Let's see. I think. No, that's not. Somewhere. I thought I had everything in one slide. Showed everything, and I just had so many that's just mixed up here. That's not. And it just it's so long to try to move them over. And I know I have one that just showcases everything all together.
It's got to be in here somewhere.
Yeah, I was looking for one too.
Somehow I missed it. I missed it. All right. Well, anyway, that's my show and tell for today.
All right, I'll stop your share.
Yeah,
Yep.
All right, thanks for showing off, and I'm sure
very
we'll see
excited.
more of
Very,
those.
very excited.
And definitely want to see pictures and hear about your 4th of July fun.
Oh yeah.
All right, Jim, what you got?
Well, let's see. Share screen. Somebody, I forget, I was kind of half watching another program during the first half of this. And so somebody brought up Group 5. So we just started a Group 5 series. And those are the 2 cars that I've got right now. I have the Toyota and I bought the BMW. BMW has no rear tires on it. So I was swapping them back and forth to see which car was the best. So those are my Group 5 entries for Northern California right now. And some of you that know me know that sometimes I have these wild ass crazy ideas. And I've been looking for a pit light that I wanted or liked for a long time. The battery powered ones either were too big or had to turn them off every time you use them because they wouldn't last for more than a couple hours, or some places don't have power, so you have to carry a powered light. I found a light that I think really works, and you can see it there. That's the light. That's the way it comes from IKEA, 1995. And what I did is I cut it right in the middle of that stem and mounted it in my pit box with shoe glue. Cut a little hole so the box will close and the light will fold up. That bend there is like a gooseneck, so you can move it back and forth and bring it out or put it, it's flexible. The light itself is swivelable, so you can rotate the light forward or backward, away from you, or whatever you want to do. And on a 10,000 milliamp power bank, it'll run 2 days.
Beautiful.
It's also USB, so I have a USB a power strip with a USB outlet, so I could run this off of power if I want to, if I have power available. And if not, it folds right back into the pit box. It's not super bright, but it's plenty bright to use. I've finally found something. You could actually put 2 in on the other side with a power bank like that with 2 outlets. You could have more light if you wanted to, but the one works fine. So again, one of those wild ass crazy ideas I had that actually worked. So I'm very happy with this light. I've got to clean it up a little bit, and I'm going to splice the wires. When you cut it in half, you have to splice the wires. So I didn't know where I was going to position it. So I haven't spliced them and, cut them so they're a lot shorter and a little bit cleaner. So, but other than that, the thing works great. So that's my show and tell.
IKEA?
IKEA, yeah. I forget what it's called. If you just look up LED lamp in IKEA, they're $19.95. They come in white or black. And if you can see my cursor, I cut it right there. And then when this is all metal, so you have to cut it with a Dremel. And then this is the gooseneck, the flexible. And so here you just cut it with a Dremel cutting disc, and then you cut the 2 wires in it, the power wires in half, so they pull out the bottom, and then splice it back together. And you've got
I find it really ironic that you bought something from IKEA that was already made and then reassembled.
You had to take it apart. Yeah.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Disassembly required.
I saw this on YouTube. Somebody had taken this light and disassembled it and used it for their specific application. But the light is perfect because of the size. There's no, there's no bulk to it at all. It's just a tube, and you can cut it. The flexible is about here to here, so you can cut it anywhere from here on down. If you just want to carry this, you can put this underneath your you know, your pit box and just use it like that. But I wanted it all self-contained in the pit box, which was kind of been my holy grail, is to get something that's so easy, I don't have to turn this on and off all day long. It lasts easily all day on a 10,000, probably lasts on a 5,000.
So where are the batteries?
I was gonna say, where'd you get the
There's
battery
a
pack?
battery bank right here.
Oh, that's the battery bank?
Yeah, so you have to plug it in. It plugs it into a battery bank or a USB outlet. So I've got a USB power strip if I have power, and I have the battery bank if I don't.
And the battery bank's not part of what you bought at IKEA.
Correct. Yeah, so this is about a $35 project.
Okay.
Yeah, I put a link to the IKEA product page.
Oh, you find it? Yeah. So these are 20 battery banks, anywhere from 10 to 30, depending on what you want to buy. I bought this one because it has the prongs that come out, so I don't have to have a separate charger for this. I can just pull it out, plug it in the wall. And it was $20 at Walmart. So I've got $40 in that.
Cool.
Which is about the same as a good, like an OttLite or something like that. And much more functional for the way I use it.
Very cool.
Good idea. And like I said, I put the link in the chat if you want to hit that, or later on in the description. And I'll go slap that on YouTube as well.
They had them on sale for a while for $12, but when I got there, they were out. Well, they had the white one on sale for $12, and when I got there, they were out of the white one. So I mean, $20 is not a big deal, but they still have the white ones on sale for $12.
Yeah.
I got Jim Rose to tune up a light.
What you got,
that would
Chris?
be to put 2 battery banks and put 30 volts into it, make it brighter.
Yeah, 2 lights. What you got, Chris?
I have been doing some restorations and refurbs as well. I got from a guy who wanted all of the old scaly clamshell cars redone. So this is, they did a Ferrari 156, a Lotus 20, a Lotus 16, and a Cooper T51. So this is a little bit more than a restoration. I've changed the wheels out to BWA wheels. And I've only got the Ferrari done so far. The others are on the way. And then, sorry?
Beautiful.
Yep.
And then I'm doing some Strombeckers. This is not my favorite picture, but that's the Dino 32nd scale.
Nice.
Good to me.
So I should have taken more pictures. The back's all been cut out with little screens and proper little pipes and stuff like that on the back. I've done, this one is very much like the Carrera Cheetah, but it is not. That's my Cheetah. So that's in the Allen Green livery, the same as the Carrera one.
And that's
These
using
all
what? Using a Strombecker body?
This is a Strombecker body.
But with the Cox engine
the
detail.
Cox manifold, that's a resin copy of the Cox manifold.
Yeah, I've got Dart Hobbies did a bunch of the engine detail things, so I swapped that out. I cut out the old plastic wheel that was in the back and cut down a proper metal wheel and opened up some bits and put some fins and stuff like that in for them.
That's great.
And all of these are running on the Strombecker 2-piece brass Pro chassis 32nd that they had.
Mm-hmm.
And the last one is kind of cool. This is the McKee.
Very nice.
So again, I opened up the back and put a little gearbox and proper lights and pipes and stuff like that. So
and it looks like you put Paul Newman in there. That's awesome.
Well, yeah, it was the
The McKee he drove in the movie Winning was number 26, actually, but the actual McKee Mark 10 that drove, Ralph Salyer, was 25, so a little bit different. But I remember seeing the first time I ever saw this car was in that movie Winning.
Yeah,
And I
sorry,
just
that
thought
that
it was-
was
I
the best
thought it
part of the
was
movie. The rest of it stunk.
just the coolest looking thing you'd ever seen in your life. So
And
anyway,
when you see it in full size, it's a tiny little car.
oh yeah, not big at all, not big at all.
Yeah.
This one, this is a lie. This one runs on. This is by far the best running out of them all. This runs on one of the old AMT 132nd scale brass chassis with the AMT FT16D motor that had a little bit of work done to it by John Havlicek, and it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I can imagine. Very pretty. It was all the stuff that you did with these Strombeckers over the years that made me buy every one of those damn bodies, and they're all sitting here in a box, and I haven't got anywhere close to building them yet.
Have you done the McLaren M1 is absolutely, did you buy one of those?
I've got one of those. I
That's-
think I've got
that's
one of
just a-
everything. I think I might just be, I'm not either the Dino or the P2 is the one that I'm
that's
still looking
just
for.
an absolutely ridiculously stunning.
I hate to break it to you, Dennis, but that's not unique in this group.
No, I'm sure. Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
bunch of us with all those Strombeckers that we still are intending to build at some point.
Yeah, I've got pictures of them somewhere, but don't worry about me.
I've seen that one of yours. Yeah, I know the one you mean.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks for showing those off. As always, beautiful work.
Mhm.
And I guess we're done with show and tell, unless anybody else has something they want to show or tell. Or you can go ahead and move on to Club Corner. So if you have any past, present, or future slot car racing stuff you want to talk about, now's the time to raise your hand so I don't forget to get to you. And then we'll talk about other things. So Dewan, go ahead, sir.
Is Gio here today?
I don't see him. Shoo!
Oh, there he is. He is.
Yes.
Go ahead, Dewan. Oh, you're still muted. Yeah, unmute, buddy. There you go.
Yeah, trying to get my screen shared. The mouse, I'm gonna have to use my finger to touch screen because it's so. Oh, it didn't start sharing. All right.
Oh,
there we go. Okay, so this weekend we had another race for the Far Out Slot Car Club, and it was really nice. It was over at out in the valley in San Fernando Valley in the suburbs of LA, at Nigel. What's Nigel's last name? Oh boy, I forgot Nigel's last name. What is it? Oh, Rick. Yeah, Nigel Rick. There we go. At his house, he has a 4-lane Skeletric, and I meant to bring that up. Darn, I was going to show you that. It's a really nice 75-foot 4-lane Skeletric track, with double crossovers in the middle of the race. So it was nice and challenging. And so we had 2 classes that we raced. The first class was the Regal Slot. No, I'm sorry. The first class was the Races Sideways, and that was the GT2.
5.
Oh, GT5. Yeah. Okay, thank you. I'm getting all twisted around. There we go. Yep, GT5. So, and I had, this is my first time. Well, no, it's not my first time. I've been on a Skeletric track, but with the narrow slots. I had a darnest issue for my first 3 of the 4 races, where at the very beginning, as we hit they go to the green light to the go, that my car just instantly jumps right out of the slot. It just pops right out of the slot coming out the gate. Around, I just came out so super slow, it just wouldn't do that. And it was also even at the beginning of each of the turns, as it went to the first turn, it just was completely. It's like the brakes was sticking up too high on the off of the rails, and the slot just wasn't even in the slot almost. But the way it would just come out out the gate, just straight out of and as soon as they put it back in, it would come out again. So I just had to really pace myself around to start doing so. I need to know a little bit more about that characteristic. But nonetheless, I didn't finish last in this race. So,
yeah, if your braids are sprung up too much, or they're really stiff and they're not very flat, if you've got enough grip that your car goes well, and the front end is being pushed up by your braids, then yeah, you're going to come out a lot easier.
Yeah, that was my nemesis for the whole race. Literally, if I could have gotten by that, I would have performed so much better. Because I mean, I was really babying it around. It was just a nuisance. But one thing that our fearless leader, Mr. Stephen Barr Jones, wanted me to make note of is how Thomas here finished in 4th place using nothing but the loaner cars. And the loaner cars are really finely tuned. They haven't tuned up to the same level that people would have their race their cars, and they send them out to the best tuners to work on each of the loaner cars. But the key thing is you have a different car for each lane, so you have to learn each car, and so that. And I really like racing with my car, so I want to learn my cars to get to know them better and everything like that. So that's why I don't use the loaner cars. But if someone goes 4th with all the loaner cars was a nice little accomplishment.
Juan, did you have stock braid or the soft braid?
I had the stock braid in this one. Yeah, I did. I usually change out to the soft NSR braids too, but I didn't get around to that in these, and that's what I think I'm gonna definitely have to do.
And there are things that you can do to form, even if the braids are a little bit stiffer than ideal. There are some things that you can do to kind of form them to be flatter, but at the same time, you don't want to make them too flat. So.
Yeah, during the practice run, I was trying to do the tricks that you indicated with, for instance, the scaly track, that try to have it.
Yeah, and that'll exacerbate the issue. If they're too stiff, then just make things worse. Yeah.
But and the key thing was I wasn't coming out during practice. It only started when we got to the race, because I guess I was just I wasn't really going hard.
Yep.
So it just really ticked me off that 3 out of my 4 stinches came out right up the gate. So. Anyway, so that was the first race. The second race we did the Revo slot GT2s, and there I go again. But then I was in a big rush because I was trying to. They accelerated my thing because we started extra late. We started about 12:30, and I had to be on the road going back to the airport by 3:30. So they just gave me like the first 5 or 6 races of the next day. You can see we had 21 drivers in the first race and 20 drivers in the second race. So that's a very good turnout for our races. And we did the 4-minute heats for the first race, and we did narrowed it down to 3-minute heats for the second race. And so I just really rushed through it to get through that, and I didn't see the performance and how it ended up until yesterday when they sent me the results.
Well, you still got a good number of laps. I mean, you were only a lap down from the next guy up, Frank.
Yeah. Frank. I think Frank has a problem.
It's not like you did 50 laps and the next person up did 70 or something like that. So yeah, you're still in there. Just the rest of the guys were just a little bit better.
Yeah. So anyway, I felt good about it. It was a nice little exercise. And, so I like getting out every 2 weeks or so to go make a trip down to LA for this. And that's pretty much all I have for our corner. I wasn't show you the track, but I don't have that available. It's a nice little layout. So it's a good 4-laner, 75 feet or so. And those double crossovers, that's a real nice track, especially for a race. You know, we have chicanes in a couple of the other tracks, but crossovers, whew.
Yeah.
All right, I can stop my share here.
Okie doke.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks for sharing, Dewan. Go ahead, Garth.
I just have a question for Greg.
Yeah.
Greg, your tire truer, you know, on your video, that I watched your video, and I thought you said you were going to do another video, and you know, showing it in action. Are you still going to do that?
Yes, I'm sorry, I haven't gotten to that yet, but yes, that's
Okay.
still
Okay, because I kind of thought maybe I missed it or something somewhere.
Nope, I just have not done that yet. That's
Well,
something
get on
to
the
do.
ball then. Okay.
Get on the ball. Thanks, Garth. Appreciate it. All right, Henry, go ahead. Henry, can you hear us?
Garth, you run mainly with silicone tires, don't you?
Try to share a screen, but I have to find it where it is.
Okay, while you're looking, Garth, you still run mostly silicones? Garth? You run mostly silicone tires still?
Yes, I
Okay.
do. I'm sorry, I was muted. So yeah,
You don't need
mostly
a
silicone, but I
for
still
that.
wanted to see the tire truer.
You're just
You know,
a curious man.
Mike Mauer is trying to cross me over to the dark side, but you know.
If you might as well stick with silicones and magnets. Have your fun.
Yeah, truing silicones is quite the challenge, Garth.
No,
Yeah,
I wouldn't true silicones at all. Okay, and I am working on some Nomad cars too. In fact, I'm trying to set up a Nomad class, a bunch of different, you know, car combinations. Okay, and they're all the test cars for the great Reinvent the Wheel project are all Nomad cars. So Mike Mauer's, like I said, he's trying to cross me over to the dark side. So
you'll get there sooner or later.
Well, it's like the kettle, you know, calling the pot black, isn't it? Sort of.
Yeah. It's like it's a derisive comment to Mike that he's gone non-mag. He used to be.
I have gone completely not mag, Chris.
Garth used to feel you were a kindred spirit because you were still magnets like he is, and now you've dissed Garth by going non-mag.
Well, not really.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a great paint job.
So that's the car Mark Wickers did on the club. This is the car we're gonna drive off the body for the race in Oxygen in Spain. So I think he did it quite well.
Yeah.
Orange is the color of our royal house, and the football club over here, the National Football Club. 31 is the call number to the Netherlands. And yeah, HEB is of course the sponsor of it, and he even took our names on it: De Vries, Koeman, and Ravenstein. So those are the three races for that race. I think he did a wonderful job.
How's your work coming on the chassis?
At this moment, it is. I was ready with it. I gave it to Sebastian. When I gave a car to Sebastian, it's gonna take 2 weeks, but it will be my driving and not the car. of our let's say our driving, because we drive with 3 of us, but the car wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah.
It takes him days and days and days to get it the way he wants it, and exact on the minimum of weight, etc. But for us, it's new because we're gonna drive with the front wheels up.
Yep.
I've never drove a match with no wheels on the front. So let's see how it goes. It's a new experience. In Spain, they don't think that you need 4 wheels.
And that's going to happen in like 2 or 3 weeks, right?
The 17th of June. Yeah. So
yeah, a week next week.
Next Thursday I go to Barcelona.
Yeah.
Next Thursday. Yeah. We are here tomorrow and the day after, so it will be ready. No problem.
On Ningo, you don't need the front wheels, Eric.
Sorry?
On Ningo, you don't need the front wheels.
No, probably. I don't. I've tested it over here, and I don't see the problem. But I only have 25 meters, and yeah, it drives wonderful for the rest. But they all drive that way, so it should be good.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit worried about the brakes. If you drive 6 hours only on your brakes, I don't know how that is going to manage.
Yeah, put some inox on the brakes if you have it. I use it also on analog racing. So if you have it, use it. It helps.
It helps. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. We have that. We take that with us then. Yeah.
Yeah.
We will see. I hope to make some videos.
All right.
I saw the truck where you guys are gonna race. It's really good.
The layout.
Yeah.
The layout is a scale Barcelona layout, right?
Yeah, it looks wonderful, and we have the disadvantages because it's every time the same track, and they have already had a race over there. But let's say we're going for the fun and the experience.
Yeah.
And
although I mean, it's not a tricky layout. So it should be okay. I mean, there are no any.
Fucked up.
I hope the car stays not damaged, and then we hope to race it out. You never know with digital racing.
Put lots of Shugo on the inside of the body.
Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, looking forward to hearing how that goes, and hope you have lots of fun and do well.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Hey, take a lot of pictures.
Yeah, we do. We do.
All right, Mike, you're next. You're already unmuted.
Oh, geez, I was making too much noise, I thought.
No.
We had another interesting race. The first race we did stock cars and 2 ghost cars. I've been trying to use 2 ghost cars now, so there's 5 cars on the track at once. And 2 ghost cars makes it really interesting because periodically they come together at absolutely the wrong time for somebody. But one of the vehicles we used was a Scalextric's truck. So there were lots of, oh man, I got ghosted because any little tap to the truck, of course the truck doesn't move because it's a magnet truck and it's wide as heck. So it was interesting, and it was a good race so far. I had a good week this week. For the second week in a row, I cleaned up, but it wasn't just easy, let me tell you. We raced group 5s sideways, which is always a joy. And then we raced thunder slots. And in the thunder slot, I qualified last, which is really unusual because I generally have the home field advantage because I get a lot of practice because I set up the cars before we race. So generally speaking, I will qualify first, but the car that I got was, well, since we choose the cars by lot.
It's
So it's real simple to, you don't get the best car and you don't do the best. But in this case, I got the slowest car, but it was the easiest to drive. And I was consistent, and the car got faster as the race went on, and I pulled it out. I didn't crash very much and pulled the whole thing out of there, and it worked really well. So it was good fun. But it's nice that all the races lately have been really close. There's not much difference. And I don't usually do show and tell because I've got the videos up, and if you want to see it, you can go look at them. Boring as it may be, but sometimes it's fun, and I even watch them once in a while because, during the race, there's, oh, you ran into me, and sometimes you look and see, oh, I did, or I didn't run into you.
Yeah, there've been a few times
easier to tell.
There've been a few times where I'm watching the video and I'll hear you guys, blaming each other, and I'm like, no, that's not what happened. But you don't know, and you won't know until you look at the replay and see, for sure.
Yeah, it's like, we need a referee for this one.
Yep.
So, yeah, but it was great fun as usual.
Yeah.
So,
That's honestly, I think that's the best way to use pace cars in digital racing. Just one per lane, no lane changing. Just let them, be traffic that you have to maneuver through. Because if it's only 2 or 3 guys, it's all about who crashes less, which is, it's always all about, I mean, mostly about that. But if you've got a vie for, if you've got a lane change around some back marker, basically is what the pace cars are, that changes things quite a bit.
And you can use it as strategy too. Ratby a bunch of times would thwart me by jumping into the inside lane right in front of me, just to block me. And he knew that I couldn't go the same speed on the outside lane as I could on the inside lane. And it was a very good driving tactic. And he's pretty astute at that. They've been slot car racing for a long time. So there's a lot of good experience going in there. And of course, the crashes are usually, you stick your nose in, you're going to get nailed. And there's this week, there was a lot of side-by-side action. Some of it was like, oh God, I know this is going to end in tears because we were just right next to each other and trying to be good. We're not normally trying to push people off, but it does happen. It's one of the things that happens there. So, and of course we're, complaining about the other person doing it, but it's part of racing and it just happens. So, I could see where the crash and burn thing, it would be a little bit more frustrating. If somebody knocked you off on a crash and burn situation.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think crash and burn is viable for long races like that. Obviously, for IMSA, my analog club, we basically run 1 minute sprints. So crash and burn, I mean, if you come off early, that's going to hurt. But if you don't come off, super early, then it's not as big of a deal as it would be, like in a race like you did. That's why we basically, my digital club, basically we went crash and burn. No, that's too medieval. Crash and burn with poker chips. That was still a little bit too harsh. And then we did self-imposed 5-second stop and goes in the pit lane. So every time you crash, you had to pull into the pit lane and count out loud 5 seconds, 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000. So everybody knew you were doing your whole 5-second stop and go. And then we started using the software because at that point we got RCS 64 and we could start using damage points and all those other things.
Well, and plus you can change the amount of time the track call goes for. And interestingly enough, if you put it at 2 seconds, it isn't always 2 seconds. Sometimes you'll get, half a lap. Sometimes you'll get a few feet. It's just so varied. I don't know why, but that's the way it goes. And it's like, you can get a chance and get a really good track call and put a lap on somebody on something like that. So it does, reinforce the staying on is better.
Yeah.
Shiggy had one race where he was, I think it was the Can-Am race where he ended up with the slotted Ferrari or Alfa Romeo T33, and that one doesn't work well with rubber tires, so I've got foams on it, and it's fast, but its breakaway point is really abrupt. So you have to leave a little bit left and not run it at full bore. And of course, that's difficult to judge when you've got fuel simulation on because it changes every 4 or 5 laps how much power you've got. So you have to be really on top of it. And it's a real challenge. It really is. I laughed when at the end because he had like 17 offs, I think it was, in the 125 laps. And I said, yeah, I lost the last time with that car too. It's just the luck of the draw.
I mean, maybe that'll make them want to make their own car and stuff.
Yeah, well, well, then I've got too many cars if that happens. But so far they haven't done.
Here, I'll sell this one to you. All you've got to do is change the tires.
Yeah, but did you sell your children, Greg? I mean, come on.
I mean,
even though I have 200 of them, I still don't want to sell them. Although there are a couple. If anybody
no
wants
such
a
thing as
Carrera
too many cars.
Pontiac Trans Am, you can have it.
Well, thanks for the update. For my part, had another race with the guys on Monday. We did Ninco go-karts for the IROC race. So 15 volts to get those things going. Unhook your brakes because they stop too quickly, and just keep them on the track. And they're like they are open wheel cars, so you got to treat them like open wheelers and not be sliding all over the place next to somebody, because that took a few people out when they little bit too far or weren't going fast enough in the turns, and so they were hanging their rear end into the inside lane and getting knocked off that way. And then we ran the Scalextric BTCC some more. This was on a sport track, so traction was a little bit less than it was last week on the wood track. The urethane tires, everybody's doing the isopropyl alcohol thing to get them a little bit stickier, and I'm not sure that's necessarily the best thing to do anymore, because that track was super clean afterwards. But since we have a no tire cleaning policy after the race begins, we'd not have the same amount of traction from beginning to end, because those tires picked up every little speck of dust that was left behind from the IROC race. But I didn't take any video, but Russ did. And so I'm going to post a little link here in the description if anybody wants to go and check out the fun that we had on the race night before last on Russ's channel. He took some great video and posted up there for everybody to see. And that's pretty much all I need to talk about. Does anybody else have any club-related activities, circle back on show and tell, or topic, slot car-related topic they want to bring up or ask or whatever? The floor is open. Guess not. Okay, so Evan next week. Go ahead and wave bye. Let me see if I got any topics. Grab bag. What's that?
Question for Gio. I want to know if you bought that jig or not.
Yes.
Good.
So I just bought it after basically you say buy it. So. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't sure about those wheel blocks, or the blocks basically to set up the axle. But once you say that, I mean, buy it anyway, so I just bought it. And I got also some extra pins for fixing the axle. I don't know if I'm gonna really need it, but yeah.
Okay.
But I can use that jig also for, because I mean, at one point I think I will start experimenting with doing my own brass chassis. So I can use that jig also for soldering, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah. If you have any tips, I mean, I still don't understand that stuff that you were saying about the clearance of the chassis, how that stuff can help. So I don't know if you have any picture or anything that would help understand it better.
The wheel blocks are, the hole in the wheel block is drilled. It's a little offset from center. So you can buy 2 clearance values. You can buy 1.5 mil clearance and 2 mil clearance, and it says that right on the wheel blocks. So as you rotate the wheel blocks around, there's 4 sides, obviously, on a square, and each side is marked. So say if you're using a wheel block with a 1.5 mil clearance value, and you put the number 20 down on the block that says if you build the chassis on the plate nice and flat and use a 20mm tire, you will end up with a 1.5 mil clearance.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
So not as critical when you're playing with plastic chassis because you've already got the axle heights basically built in with the uprights, either on a front end or the pod on the rear end. But certainly if you're doing scratch built chassis with axle tubes on the front, having the clearance already built in is nice. You can certainly do it with gears. I mean, if you use an 18mm gear, you know that if you use a 20mm tire, you'll have 1 mil clearance. So
Yes.
it's easy math to figure out. It's just pretty convenient if you got the clearance values on the blocks.
Yes. Okay. Now makes sense. Yeah. Thank you.
I'm gonna do a quick share because my first and actually only tire grinder customer ordered a kit, and he just sent me pictures of his completed kit. So he's very proud that now he has the first official kit built GNS tire grinder. There's a picture of his kit. This was sent to him as a bag full of hardware and a bag full of plastic, and he did it all himself. And now he's got a working first set of tires being ground on a machine that I did not build. So there, I'm proud of him for doing that. Hopefully that works out for him, and I look forward to hearing from him if there's anything I need to fix or improve or something about the machine.
Looking
Because
good.
I'm sure there's something I missed.
Greg, I have a question.
Sure.
And I can say also about the silage.
Yeah.
The function of ESP.
Yeah. So that's like traction control. That's the green knob on a slotted controller.
Okay. The ABS is like the sweep.
ABS is like sweep. Yeah. I think it works. I never really got much out of sweep, so I can't really make a direct comparison. But yeah, the higher the number, the more quickly the brake strength dissipates. If you set the ABS to 10, then it's going to brake hard and no brakes at all. It's going to feel like no brakes almost. But then if you have ABS like 3, 4, 5 or something like that, it's going to brake and then brake less. I usually leave mine on full because I want all the brakes all the time.
I'm just want to try it how it works.
Yeah.
So yeah. I did it. I had mine Tuesday. Yeah. We had a race also on Tuesday, so there was not much time. But in 30 minutes, I drove an BRM, so the big scales of the dwarfs, they call them. And I did sideways, and we had a race that night with sideways. And I did a 124 scale car, and I drove even with my scale auto brushless motor. So it's a flat 6, a brushless, etc., etc. So a few type of cars, and the first silage I've seen and I worked with was not so powerful, but for this one I think they improved them a lot. I didn't thought anyhow of any meaning that I came to. I didn't have the power. So in all type of cars, so I was very surprised and pleased with it. And I turned them on, and I have the one without the wire, so it's wireless. Mm-hmm. And I didn't do nothing. It was exactly at that moment direct wireless.
Yeah.
So I put the power on the XLR, and it was wireless. So I don't know. I didn't drove with the wire on it. I think I have to do it in the because the battery power will be powered by the cable, I think.
Yeah, the battery gets charged by if you use a cable, the battery is charged when the track is alive. Yeah.
So the first impression is very good. I give him Thursday to Sebastian because he's the guru over there, and let's try it. I drove mine a group 5 car for 10 minutes. And I was 1/10 of my best lap time. So, and I didn't fiddle a lot around, only with the power, the curve, and the brakes. So that's all I did.
Yep.
I was very pleased with it. Yes.
What does Sebastian use normally as a controller, or usually?
Which controller he used normally?
Yeah.
The same as mine, MB slot.
Okay. I hate that control. It's what I use.
Which one you
Try
have?
to read I mean the one with the knobs, the 4 knobs on top. So
okay, we use the one with the box.
yeah, it's the same there. I mean, the only thing is where they place the knobs. I mean, the controls.
Yeah.
So I mean, what I really understand is, like, as I mentioned multiple times, is from the instruction, basically the steps and sensibility, as they call it, basically to me it doesn't really make any sense. But anyway, I think you guys in the Netherlands love these controllers because a lot of people basically have them.
Yeah.
So maybe there must be a problem with me. I don't know.
You know what it is? I've told the slot forum, it's a controller is like a marriage.
Yeah, but I mean, it seems that you guys all like the same girl, so which is kind of strange.
Maybe, yes. Yeah. I will tell my wife.
Yeah, they have their Yeah, I talked to David after last week and got some more information on the pace car screen. The brake and time are for his future digital system. He's going to have his chips I believe, with Hall effect sensors to detect magnets in the track, so that the cars know when to brake. And so the settings in the pace car screen allow him to set each car to have a specific brake strength and a specific amount of time to brake.
Understand.
So every time the car passes a magnet, it says, "Oh, brake point," and then it'll use those settings.
I'm over here. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And
but yeah,
how do you
only useful for his digital system when that becomes a thing.
How do you activate the kit mode and the ghost mode?
Ghost mode, you push any of the buttons, push any of the knobs in, and hit the brake button.
Okay.
And it'll go to the ghost screen. To go to kids mode, you push any of the knobs, brake, and then pull the trigger. And every time you pull the trigger, it'll toggle between kid mode and pro mode.
Yeah. Okay.
So if you want to let kids use it, you can crank the power down and stuff like that, and then switch it to kids mode, and then they can't make adjustments after it's in kids mode.
I do like the way the trigger handles. No friction at all, of course. I have the 1 finger trigger, and that one is too small. And I have small hands, so I didn't like that one. So can you order him a new buyer?
I'm sure you can. If you ask him nicely, he might even send you the STL to
STL file. I can print it myself. Yeah.
I'm planning the 2-finger trigger is also just a hair shorter than I'd like it to be.
Yeah.
I'm gonna modify the trigger and make it slightly longer as well. And see how that works out. Any modifications I do to the files, I'm gonna send them right back to David so he can,
work on it. Yeah. Okay. And the wiring on the box, I found it very, very small.
Yeah, you can't use the wires that I have for slot car controller lead wire is like, I don't know, 12 gauge or 10 gauge or something. It's crazy thick.
Yeah,
but
mine too.
Stranded silicone. Yeah, so I basically had to trim off some of the strands in order to twist it and get it in there. But I'm gonna desolder the little screw terminal and then solder straight to the board, because if you open it up, you can see 3 big solder pads for wiring. So
I'm going to do the same. If I keep this one, then I'm going to do the same. Yeah.
And one of the things I'm going to do as well is change the design of the box, the printed box where the wires go in, so it has strain relief on the wires, because as is, the box is not really designed to have wires just kind of going through those big holes. There's no strain relief. There's no capturing of the wires where those holes are.
No.
So that was one of the things that I was going to work on as well.
Yeah.
I'll send that back to David and he can do with it as he pleases. But I
And-
have not done either of those things yet. They're just plans.
And did you race it last week?
I raced it last week and I raced it the night before last. Yeah, I'm still liking the controller. Honestly, my only complaints are the trigger is a little uncomfortable. So that's my main reason for wanting to do trigger modification.
Yeah, it's for me the same. Yeah.
And remembering to turn it on before, because it gets power from the track, but if the controller isn't already turned on, then there's about a half a second boot up before the car goes.
Yeah.
So I need to remember to leave the turn the controller on before before the race begins. Is that the same with the wireless one? Is there a switch on the box or
No, I think it's the same box.
I thought it was the same box too, except your box has wireless in it.
Oh yeah, maybe. Yeah, I didn't open it, but it's the same. The first silage didn't have a battery, so the power came off the track, and you have to wait about 10-12 seconds for the booting up. So that's what I didn't like in the first prototype. So I think this is a big advantage at this moment, and I'm not forgetting it to get it on. No.
Well, yours is wireless, so you pretty much have to have it on to work at all, right? You have to turn the controller on for it to work at all, right?
Yeah.
So that's already in your brain. I need to have the controller on. But when you hook up a wired controller, you're not thinking, oh, I need to have the controller turned on.
Of course. Yeah.
There were a couple of races the night before last where I had forgotten to turn the controller on. I'm like, I see all the other cars leave the line, and then mine follows, and I'm like, shit, I need to turn the controller on.
Yeah.
But that's also the case with the SCP-3. If you use that as an analog controller,
yeah,
you want to have that on, because if the switch is in the off position, then it doesn't do anything.
It's power. No.
Yeah. Also,
for the wireless version, do you have also the option to make it wired, or is only wireless?
Yeah, you get the same option because there is a hole underneath it over here, and you can put in a wire in it, and then you're wired.
Yeah.
But it's not ready to go, so you have to put the socket.
No, the socket's in there.
The socket. So you just need the wire. It doesn't come with the wire.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did it come with a wire?
Yeah.
Yeah. So even the wire. Yeah, it's just not already plugged in. You can't really plug the wire in without at least taking part of the controller casing off, because the hole isn't big enough for the 5 connector. It's just big enough for the wire.
Right.
So
Okay.
it's not an unplug and plug quick and easy.
You have here the box, and you put in the wire into the box, and you put the other side in the controller, and it's only a USB cable, so it's very nice to handle with it.
Oh, that one's USB?
So it's not the same. So maybe that is just for charging the battery, is not for controlling the box.
I didn't try it, but he told me when I bought it, you can use it both.
Yeah, USB should be fully capable.
Sorry?
It's a diff. Yeah.
I'm surprised that it's USB. The one that I got is a Cat 5 cable, but a USB cable should be able to do the same job. It's got enough connections.
I will try it tomorrow.
Yeah.
We know. But
David was going to try to be on the chat today, but it looks like something else came up for him. He's not.
Yeah, but he told me that you can use it both ways. But
yeah, I had asked him that before I placed my order. I asked him that as well.
Okay.
And he said you could use it with or without the wire.
And so given that this is the USB version, Eric, are you able to plug inside the handle, or you have to open the handle?
No.
Yeah, I mean, Greg,
so the plug
Greg
is right
said,
there.
There's a hole.
So you can, so you can put it in.
And you can put them in.
Yeah, mine's different. You have a bigger battery too. Yeah, that makes more sense. The battery in mine is much smaller because it doesn't need power wireless. It just needs to power the computer. So yours is different in that it's the bigger battery, and then the USB connection is right there at the
bottom.
at the end of the handle, at the bottom of the handle. For mine, the battery is much smaller, and the connection is actually up behind the trigger.
Yeah, but I assume that basically you can still use the controller with the plug in, right? With the cable in, and this wireless version. But I think it's still using a wireless to communicate with the box. It's not going through to the cable. The cable maybe is just used for power the controller.
That's possible.
Yeah, it will be interesting to know this. Yeah.
I mean, the only way to know for sure is to. Well,
you can
no.
switch off with the wireless in.
I was gonna say
in the handle, right?
Yeah, you'd have to like somehow remove the wireless chip or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
I'm not gonna know.
No.
No.
I mean, maybe David will be able to tell us if we ask him specifically. Is the control going through the wire, or is the wire just to power the controller and to charge the controller, and it's still actually wireless control? But you didn't notice any lag or anything, right? You said on your slot forum post that there's no noticeable lag.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Not the same he said that my brain could see.
Yeah, not perceivable.
No.
Yeah, I think if there is any lag, Sebastian is gonna tell you, or he's gonna find out.
Yeah.
Because I think you can sense that. What I was gonna say? Also like it seems that the inside what is like the handle, right? I mean, between the wireless version and yours, Greg, is different because your battery is very small, but seems that everything is super packed. You said in every case, seems that the battery is kind of has a bit of space around it, right? But seems that the chassis inside the handle is different.
I mean, I'm sure there are some differences. I mean, if only because his is wireless, right? So he's got to have a place for the wireless componentry in there somewhere. Maybe it's on the other side or something. But yeah, I mean, you'd think mine would have more space because the battery's smaller.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
I don't know. I'd have to see them side by side, like without the shell on, because the shell is just cloudy enough to kind of obscure detail. But yeah. All right, cool. Good deal. And Mike, what did you want to talk about? 10 more minutes.
I got a question for Chris. Chris, on this chassis that I've got, you can see it here. Is that an offset motor position? Can you tell? Because I get a lot of resistance in the gear. It just seems really slow, and it looks like to me that there's an offset on it. When you have that style of motor mount assembly, do you generally put in an offset style gear?
Depends how much the offset is.
I was gonna say he might not realize I muted him when he was talking to somebody earlier. Or he
Can
might
you
have
measure the offset?
Just have a look at it and see if the motor shaft sort of points directly at the center line of the axle.
It doesn't seem to.
Okay.
So I can't really find a slotted offset gear. Is there anything else available? Does somebody else make it?
You can change the whole gear set, but somebody's got to have some offset gears for you for that. It also looks to me like your motor is skewed to one side in the chassis. It doesn't look completely parallel. It doesn't look like it's 90 degrees to the.
Yeah, well, it's actually it's not the motor. It's the one side of the chassis is pulled in on a little bit.
Okay. Well,
I checked it in the jig and it's okay there, but the chassis itself moved around a little bit when I was making it. So that's what that is. It appears that way, but it's actually pinched at the front slightly because I didn't get it right.
Okay. And how much lash is there?
Almost nothing.
Okay.
And I can't feel any. It could be that the space in between the that centers it is too narrow for the motor shaft.
Well,
There could be a lot of friction there. I'm realizing now that it doesn't move at all.
okay, so try feeling for lash at 4 or 5 different points around the circumference of the crown.
Yeah, it's a little bit out.
Okay, is there some points where there's lash and some points where there's no lash?
Yeah, there's some points where there's lash and some points where there's not.
Okay, so that's likely your pinion is not on square.
Okay.
It's causing some run out of the pinion, so at certain points, the pinion teeth sort of pull away from the crown a bit, if you know
Yeah.
what I mean,
I get
creating
it.
lash. And
Yeah.
and then at other points they butt up against the valleys in the teeth and create no lash. But either way, that's not good. It's not.
No, it's not. I noticed that. I was thinking to make. Have you used the trick of heating the gear to allow it to change the tooth pattern a little bit? Does that work, or is that something you should avoid?
It does work, but the best thing to do is fix the problem.
Yeah.
Yes, it'll bugger the teeth around, but if your pinion's not on the motor shaft squarely, you're just putting Band-Aids on situations. So
yeah. Is there any particular procedure that you use to try and get it square?
Well, I mean, take the crown out and have a look at as you sort of spin the pinion around, see if it is on square. The other assumption people make that all crown gears are perfectly flat, which is completely erroneous. The crown can have, the crown can have some wobble, and as it goes around, it sort of moves its teeth closer to the pinion or further away from the pinion.
Yeah.
Mike, if you do in fact need an offset gear, Electric Greens has them in stock.
Oh, okay, good. I do need one, so I might as well try that first. Oh, well, that means I got to buy a Chaparral, doesn't it?
Well, just the first thing to do is take that crown out and just put another crown in.
Yeah. Okay.
And see if it's just,
if it's just the crown.
Usually pretty good, but I mean, I've built lots of cars that I have like a bad crown box that I throw out every once, and they're just once they're not flat, there's nothing you just throw them out. Again, you don't have to throw them out. It depends on how well you want your cars to run. So check another crown first. If another crown does exactly the same thing, then have a look at your pinion.
Well, since I know I need an offset crown anyway, I was pretty sure. Because the way it looks as though the motor is mounted below the center of the axle shaft.
What bracket are you using?
I got it from Slot Car Corner, and I don't remember.
Okay, do you know if it's probably could be probably a JK bracket?
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of those are 1 mil offsets.
Okay.
So, you can run a 1 mil offset and get away with it. But if there's other problems, it's going to compound the fact. A lot of the guys who use those brackets with a 1 mil offset use ARP angled pinions with 48 pitch Mid-America or Parma crowns, and they mesh like butter.
Okay.
But now I'm going to go tell you to buy a $9 pinion and a new crown and like a bunch of other stuff, and without having the car in my hand, you might not need to spend any of that money.
Yeah, I get you. Since I don't have another crown for a 27 tooth or 28 tooth rather, so I have to order one anyway.
Doesn't matter. just all I want you to do is put a different crown in just to determine if the crown
I get it.
is not flat.
Okay.
I suspect the crown is okay. Generally they are, but not always. I suspect your pinion is not on square.
Okay.
How do you put your pinions on it?
I have a press from Slot Invasion.
Okay. And is that a new pinion or a reused pinion?
You know, I don't know.
Okay.
You know, I built this car just as sort of a test base.
Okay.
All
right.
You know, to see,
for the price of pinions, I use them once.
Okay.
They're brass. The bore is soft. Once you push them on and pull them off, you increase the size of the bore. And then when you put them back on a motor shaft, you increase the likelihood that it doesn't go on perfectly.
That it doesn't go on square. Okay.
Yeah. And if you're using the motor shaft to center the crown, you don't have a lot of leeway with the pinion being out of square before it starts causing you issues.
Okay. So maybe what I should do is I've got another pinion. So I'll just try another pinion first.
First, try another crown. I'll repeat that one more time.
All right.
First, try another
That's
crown.
easy. That's easy. That takes you 10 seconds.
Yeah.
If that doesn't work, have a look at your pinion, try a new pinion. When you have when you change crowns, when you take the crown off, try and eyeball how much below the center line of the axle the motor shaft is.
Okay.
And if it's a mil or more, you know, you really should go to an offset crown gear.
I think I can measure that.
You should.
All right. Well, while you're measuring that, let's see if we can squeeze it, Pete and Dewan in before we hit the unlive button. What's up, Pete? You're already unmuted.
You were.
Oh, you're unmuted, but we can't hear you. So your microphone is not properly connected. We've done this before. All right, Dewan, what would you like to ask about?
Okay.
You're good. We can hear you.
Something to there. I was just showing you the layout. I just finally found it.
Oh wow!
The cup corner. So that was the hand drawn.
Oh my god! So the double crossovers.
Yeah, you saw the double crossover.
Wow.
That's a challenge.
That is crazy.
I'll go back to that. Yeah. So that's so that made it very interesting racing. Gentlemen's racing.
Yeah, huh?
It was a
Like,
nice
I don't want to let you through, but I don't want to crash. So who's gonna let up?
Yeah, play chicken. Here we go.
Exactly. Yep.
It was a real nice layout. I liked it. Just wanted to show that since I had it handy. And that's you can see the double crossovers right there.
Yep.
Yeah, that's it. And that's the owner, Nigel.
All right. Well, thanks for showing that.
Okay. Yep. Thank you.
That is definitely an eye opener of a layout. Pete, did you get your microphone thing figured out, or you want to? Nope, I guess not. Mike, did you get that gear?
Yeah, I did. Actually, the measurement I get is 1.87 offset. You know, it's not subject to some inaccuracies there, so it's at least a 1 mil offset, maybe a 2, maybe a 1.5.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, well, depends. I mean, you can change the offsets by how you mount the motor and the bracket.
Right.
And depending on how you solder in the rear bushings, you can affect the offset as well. So
yeah.
All right, so Pete wants to share that there's going to be a SummerSlam slot car sale in Dundas, Ontario, Canada, I assume.
Wow, that's coming up. You know what? Thank you, Pete. I know we can't hear you, but I didn't know about this. Holy cow, this is great.
July 15th. That's just a short month or so away, month and a week. So mark your calendars and go and have some fun with a slot car.
I take it that's a Saturday, right? July 15th, is that a Saturday?
I sure hope so. The numbers add up. Let's see. June, July. That is a Saturday.
Just nod your head. That's a Saturday, right?
It's a Saturday. Yes, I'm looking at my calendar.
Okay, it's a Saturday. All right. If I don't mail your stuff before then, I'll bring it. I promise. But there'll be lots of stuff.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and unlive, but we'll keep chatting as usual. Until then, everybody, bye.
Take care. Thanks.
End stream. Okay.